going, just in the essence of time. Just the essence of time, and then we can, keep going. And Jen, you just keep adding people into the room.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you.
All right then. Well, thank you for joining us today for Launchpad Startup Mornings. Really excited to have you all here, and looking forward to some great speakers today. So my name's Mel Malloy. I am the manager of Launchpad. Launchpad is our innovation space for students who want to explore entrepreneurship, starting a business, working on different ideas together across disciplines, connecting with industry and the startup community. And we have lots of exciting projects that are going on. I've got my colleagues here today, Jeremy Chetty and Matthew Evans, who's our director, and Jen, who works at Launchpad with us today. Before we get going, I'd just like to acknowledge that Murdoch University is situated on the lands of the Whadjuk Noongar people, and pay our respects to elders past and present. So Jeremy, do you want to take it away, please? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Mel, and thanks for that introduction as well. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for making time this morning. Those that are on the call today, everyone knows, kind of knows the agenda and the format for these startup mornings, but I will refresh everyone's memories. So basically, we have two founders this morning, which I'm excited because I know both of them and kind of followed their journeys and know what they're up to. But I'm excited about what they're going to share this morning. But really, the format is both founders have 6 minutes each, and after that, we have a Q&A. And for the questions, I'll kick it off. But for the audience, you can either put it into the chat, or I'll get you, because we're a small group today, actually you can ask it directly yourself to each one of the founders. So, but the whole purpose and the point of this morning is really in a closed group where we can support and encourage our founders with their ideas, give them feedback. It's an opportunity for the founders as well to learn as well, but also connect. And with potential to even get customers, whatever it may be. We're here to really just rally around our two founders this morning and give them some honest and straight and feedback to, I guess, point them in the right direction, but support them along the journey, which we know is not easy. So that's the format for this morning. I will mention that some of our founders of this morning, maybe the first time presenting and pitching, so we wish them all the best. And in terms of who's going to kick off first, I'd love to introduce to you all Stuart Cattanach, the founder of Worthi, to talk to us today about his startup, which I think is, in terms of providing impact in our community and also for our young people in particular, this is an app or a business that I think is really going to be going places. So Stuart, without further ado, I'd love to welcome you to Startup Mornings here at Murdoch. You have 6 minutes to present to us this morning.
Excellent. Thank you, JC, for those kind words. Let me just bring up the presentation.
We'll go on mute.
Has that come up okay? Can you all see that, the presentation?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, 2 seconds. All right, now you should be able to.
All good.
All good. Excellent. Okay. Yeah, thanks for the intro, JC. Look, the reason why we're here today is this beautiful boy in the picture. This picture, don't let looks deceive you. That smile you see there, he's riddled with anxiety. This was taken at 4, and 3 months before that, he was diagnosed with anxiety at 3.5. And as a way to support Jet and my son, I have gone and spent the last 3 years researching self-worth and the impact it has on kids, and have made some really cool discoveries and also some strategies on how to help him. But the specific problem I'm here to talk to you today is one that costs the Australia $22 billion a year. The issue hasn't been found by myself. This risky behaviour has been identified by insurance company, and is the #1 reason why 16 to 19-year-olds are still either dying or suffering major injuries from car accidents. The reason I believe this is happening is because a lot of the awareness campaigns around don't drink and drive, don't do this, aren't as effective anymore, yet no one's really tackling the root cause behaviour as to why kids are still doing this sort of stuff. So the solution that I've come up with, at the bottom, you'll see the 6 different domains of self-worth. The approval from others domain, we know now that a child that scores a lower score in the approval from others domain are absolutely have an increased risk of suffering from peer group pressure and engaging in risky behaviour such as drink driving and all the rest of it. So what we've done, we've built a tech platform, and it all starts with the self-worth questionnaire, which was done by a lady who did her PhD in self-worth. It identifies the score, and anyone that scores a lower score in the approval from others domain, they go straight into our program. And the self-worth program, this is dealing to target specifically these kids around why they do risk behaviour and all the rest of it. Once they've completed the program, they upload their school report, and all kids with a B+ average across their grades and who have completed the program are eligible for a 25% discount on their car insurance. That idea isn't new or isn't from me. That's currently happening in the US. The biggest car insurance company in the US are already offering their kids a 25% discount. It's simply called a good student policy. I've simply grabbed that concept from the US and brought it to the Australian market. After they've uploaded their school report and completed our program, they simply go through a landing page, click on a link, and purchase the insurance from the insurer. At the moment, the customer acquisition for insurance companies in Australia costs between $300 to $800 to acquire a new customer. So let's just take the middle road there and say it costs $550. For an insurance company to acquire 1,000 customers, it'll be $550K. With Worthi on the back of us, they can come and acquire 1,000 customers by supporting us and getting our school program into the schools at the cost of $100K. And once they apply the 25% discount to the premium, their cost per acquisition will be around the $320, which is at the lower end of what they're already paying. Put simply, no one's doing what we're doing. No one's tackling the root cause. No one's rewarding good behaviour, and no one is providing a tech solution to this problem. The government, the road safety strategy, yes, they're data driven and making a lot of decisions around that, which is great. And so are the Australian Road Safety Foundation, which is a charity, which is probably closer linked to what we do. But no one's taking a segmented approach and grabbing one niche or one core market, suffering from one specific problem around risky behaviour, with an overall objective to reduce car accidents and having a solution for that. And that's what we're doing at Worthi. But we are all aligned. I've gone through the road safety strategy for WA, New South Wales and the federal, and we are all aligned in what we're doing, which is cool. The business model is fairly simple. We simply have a partnership with the insurer. We then simply go and get a partnership with the school. We then run the program through a 1,000 cohort of kids, and at the end of the program, the kids upload their report, and the insurer is able to acquire that customer. Traction. We've handpicked the 2 brands that we want to partner with. We met with a Perth-based brand a couple of weeks ago, and in their own words, not my words, Stuart, we love what you're doing. You're the first organisation that has come to us and is actually tackling the root cause problem and not trying to fix the symptom. And you're the first organisation that has come to us also with an acquisition strategy that commercially makes a lot of sense. So the fact that I've been able to combine social impact and a customer acquisition strategy is something that they've never seen before. And we're meeting again in January. And I've got an event next year, which we've secured $22K in sponsorship for. And I've got a local member of Parliament, Caitlin Collins, who's on board, is a massive believer in what we're doing, and she's sponsoring that event, which is pretty cool. The go-to-market strategy is really simple. We want to bed down the relationship with the Perth insurer first, get the tech set up, all the rest of it. Then we want to build out the school network. How are we going to do that? We're simply doing that with our partnership with the Fathering Project. They've got the relationship with schools nationally. Once again, they love what they're doing and they're happy to make the introductions. Where we're going to start in WA. Then we want to form the relationship in New South Wales with a national insurer. The reason being is New South Wales is 5 times the market of WA. And then we want to hit the US market, where, once again, this concept won't be a new concept. So we won't have to go and educate the market simply because this 25% reward is already happening over there in the US, which is pretty cool. A financial projection over the next sort of 3 years. And the best part about this is that we can actually grow with the one insurer. So yes, we've got plans to get a national insurer on board in probably 2 to 3 years, but we can, as long as we partner with the right insurer, we can just simply grow this model. The future of Worthi, Perth-based partnership, grow the schools. Eventually, I want to bring the research in-house. It's currently done by UWA, which is our source. Get the national insurer on board, government funding, apply for that, and then US-based insurer. That's a little bit about me. The ask, looking for 250K funds simply to build a data storage warehouse to store all our data, automate the tech with a bit of artificial intelligence, and to secure partnerships. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much for that, Stu. And yeah, well, you flew through that and got there on time too, which is really good.
Just
thank you for that. Yeah, I've got a few questions, so I'll kick it off, and then we'll get the audience to think about theirs. But firstly, yeah, well done. Look, I think the problem you're trying to solve obviously is a big one. Though it hit the Minister for Transport about 3 weeks ago. Her nephew was killed in a car accident, yeah, down in Armidale, because there was 5 kids in the car. But anyway, I think this is real. I think you know, this is a big problem you're trying to solve. So my question is more around. I think you started off your presentation with the problem, but I didn't quite get that link where you started off with the approval bit, and then the end outcome of the problem you're trying to solve is the risky behaviour, and then reducing car accidents. For me, there was just a bit of a there's a definite connect, but I just felt you jumped. There was a lot in there in terms of jump to that bit. Can you just explain to me?
Yeah.
So if they go through the app.
Yeah, so they go through the app. So the first thing they do with the questionnaire, they look at the 6 domains of self-worth. So the approval from others domain is the only one we're talking about today. So what we know is any child that has a low score in the approval from others domain, they are likely to, so approval from others, they're going to seek validation, seek acceptance, seek approval. How they do that? They suffer from peer pressure. So they'll suffer, you know, it's like, hey mate, go and do this, go and do that. Anyone that has a low self-worth or a low self-score in the approval from others and is constantly seeking approval or validation are absolutely more likely to go and engage in that sort of behaviour than someone that has a higher score within that domain. Does that make sense?
Yep. So and then you've narrowed down out of those behaviours. I'm sure there's not just car accidents is one risky behaviour, but you've obviously got a list of them, but you've decided to choose the car bit because it's a great opportunity to commercialise. Yeah,
that's
sure.
that.
Okay,
That's,
so can you give us an idea of what the other list of risky behaviours are?
Within self-worth or?
Yeah. So if they don't get that approval, obviously, jumping into a car and doing crazy stuff. But what are the other behaviours that could happen as well that are not just?
Oh, look, it's self-worth is so, and this is where we sort of started. Self-worth was such a big piece, but if it's not risky behaviours around, self-worth affects relationships. It affects, someone can be staying in a relationship or be putting up with abuse from a partner, for example, because they don't have the confidence and the self-worth to go and do something else. In the other domains, we've got you've got family environment. We know statistically people in jail, kids are in jail, if they come from a family environment, which is the 5th domain of the self-worth, that have, mum or dad have historically been in jail themselves or have come from a tough environment, they're more than likely to go down that same sort of path. So whereas what we've done with the approval from others, so risky behaviours, that drink driving, taking drugs, speeding, anything where someone is sort of saying, oh, hey mate, go and do this, and they feel they need to do that to get the approval from others with validation, that's the core that this self-worth problem fixes. Okay. So then the program, the content of the program is all around improving the self-worth, specifically within that approval from others domains, to give the person the confidence, say, hey, understand why they're doing it and why they feel the need to seek approval from others, but they give them the strategies to have the confidence and the self-worth that if that opportunity presents themselves, they're not going to do it. Where we looked at it, we went, if a 16-year-old's at a birthday party and they're about to go and have their first drink of alcohol, are they going to remember a don't drink and drive ad? Possibly, but what we're trying to do is we're trying to fix their behaviour within that, with the content, so that when they get to that birthday party and they've got that to make that decision, hopefully, they may not even decide they need to drink, because they're not there to trying to, solve some sort of stress or some sort of issue.
Awesome. I'll just quickly do a follow-up question, and then Matthew, I'll get you to ask yours, because that's a very good point. I think, Stu, you've also got some traction around this question for Matthew. But my question is around the business model. So you said you've already got a bit of traction around some recurring income. So I'm guessing your business model is a SaaS play subscription model. Is that it?
SaaS play, correct, exactly right. Yeah, tech solutions SaaS play, which we, with the research, the car insurance industry had called for a tech solution. 2016, 2012, the car insurance industry had called for programs to tackle behaviour.
Wow.
Yeah, we just haven't been able to find anything to do it.
Okay. Well, yeah. Thank you for that. Matthew.
Yeah. So I was just going to say, as a parent, on my third child, taking them through the joys of L's and P's, the car insurance impact is actually just insane. And I've had to change insurers. And coming over to Western Australia, I had to change it again after I found out in Western Australia they won't cover under 25s. The incentive that you're sort of suggesting is definitely worthwhile. Do you think the insurers will actually give such a big discount? And I would suggest also, secondly, if alcohol is part of or considered part of the key problem, would it also be worth approaching alcohol manufacturers?
Yeah, I'll answer the first question first. Absolutely. In the US, the number one car insurance company, this good student policy is in place. So clearly it's already happening in the US. And for me, it all comes down to the cost of acquisition. So we can put 1,000 kids through Worthi at 100K plus. Once they apply the discount, their cost per acquisition per child will be around that $320. Currently, they're paying $300 to $800. So commercially, and the initial conversation, they haven't balked at that at all. So I don't see any sort of challenges there. I see the bigger challenge for me is getting the schools, just getting that school network up and running. And then in answer to your second question around alcohol, yes, do I believe alcohol companies and stuff have the purpose that I have and that some of the insurers have? I probably don't, top level. So I don't think I'd probably go down that path. It's really important. Why? The two brands I've handpicked to do this with in Perth and nationally, very purpose-driven social impact. And I wouldn't compromise that. I think to try and go to someone that's not would be too difficult. And you simply wouldn't get the cut through that I want to get.
Yeah, well answered. Well said. A good question, Matthew. Mel, did you want to ask your question?
Yeah, sure. So I was just thinking, is this starting from high school? Obviously, you mentioned your son, it started very early on, or are you looking to start something in primary? And is it all done through the app, or is there like teacher training involved or extra support if they need extra help? What happens?
Yeah, look, so I've spent sort of I suppose 2 years pulling this together on the side, and initially identified the link with Jet, his anxiety and the mental health. When I really sort of researched that space, and I probably was in that space for 14, 15 months, that's long term, that's something Worthi wants to do, and I've sort of mentioned on there about bringing research in house. What I found though was, I thought, initially to sort of get cut through, what are some self-worth problems that, there can be a commercial benefit for the partnership to drive revenue into Worthi, to then be able to look at those sorts of things long term. I've currently got the self-worth programs for 4 to 7 year olds, 8 to 12, and 15 to 17 to deal specifically around anxiety. That though, mental health's a really interesting one, and it's sort of, I've done it in consultation with Jet's child psych, which has been amazing and stuff. But I probably just see that as a longer term thing to tackle, and I believe it probably needs a lot more resources and stuff. And from a funding point of view, I wanted to make sure that I set my model up so it wasn't reliant on government funding, if that makes sense. I wanted the model to be sustainable and to be commercial, number one, and then to be able to drive funds to look at those sorts of things. But absolutely, I do have the different age-appropriate groups looking at self-worth and anxiety. But today here, specifically talking about this issue with car accidents. And the other reason why the brand that we're speaking to love it is because we can get in front of their target market, 16 to 17, who are ready to purchase, and giving them a different angle on the back of Worthi and the social impact, which they can't get anywhere else.
Yeah. So have you tested this with a group of, what sort of age is it, like 15, 16-year-olds or 14?
Yeah, so we haven't. So I went out and did a pilot program with I tested the concept of the whole idea around improving someone's self-worth. If I can improve that, will the behavior or the symptoms of what they do, will that reduce? So we ran a pilot last year. We went to 2 schools. We went to an all-boys school, private school, and we went to a public senior high school. The all-boys school, the problems they were having at the time was around betting, gambling, because the parents were from a high net worth and had access to money, porn, disrespecting females. These are the issues that the kids had. At the public school, completely different demographic, mainly a lot of lower socioeconomic families. They were having more issues around suicide, cutting, suicide ideation, and all the rest of it. We went and ran the same, self-worth program across both schools with the whole number one goal of just to try and improve the self-worth across all 6 different domains, which I highlighted today. And the results were remarkable, and the impact on both schools was pretty much parallel. We couldn't really split them, which gave me the confidence to look at other, I suppose, issues where I believe self-worth, or specifically a domain within self-worth, can be a cause of a bigger problem.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. And I guess, like, do you involve the teachers? Like, do you have to give them special training? I just imagine that, I suppose, topics could come up that then teachers have to deal with. Yeah.
Look, with the pilot, we went, and what we did was we went and spoke and presented to the kids and let them know what it was all about, etc. Set up the login, but we also got the parents on board, the parents of the program as well. Simple reason being, I believe that you can't affect proper change unless you have mum and dad modelling that change at home, and also going through and knowing that a lot of these kids are definitely probably suffering. The reason why they're doing anything is because of the parents. So we did all that. The teachers didn't have to be trained specifically on that. What we did was all the data, the results went to the school psych. So if there's anything flagged, the school psych would obviously sort of take care of that.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Mel. Caitlin, we'll throw to you, but I'll ask you the question. I'll ask the question on your behalf. Caitlin asks, can you explain the area where the first 20 schools are and the reasons why they were chosen? Stu?
Yeah, it's simply in Perth. So the only reason why they're chosen, we essentially, with the insurer, we've sort of said to them, we want to put 1,000 kids through this, through the first run. Number one, we want 1,000 kids for the research piece. We want this, what I've discovered, we want this to be evidence-based, long-term, and once it's evidence-based, we'll go and approach government. But so we needed that larger cohort, and I just did the numbers on, year 11s and year 12s, approximately, depending on the size of the school, some have 2 streams, some have 3 streams, so some have 60 to 90 kids. There wasn't any science around how they were chosen. It was simply a matter of going out and having initial conversation. When I did the research into schools probably 12 months ago, and really from all that mental health space, it was really difficult, a lot of pushback, and they didn't have the money and the funding. So part of the solution of partnering with the car insurance company and helping them with their acquisition strategy was to simply have the car insurance fund that, to remove that barrier of entry to getting into the schools itself.
No, thanks, mate. We'll probably wrap it up there, but I just, in closing, Stu, just want to clarify your ask. So you are seeking funding of 250 grand, but is there anything else that we as a group can support you with outside of that? So funding is one thing you need, but anything else in terms of your ask?
Mate, look, probably not. Like, really, the only last piece of the puzzle is we just it's a 40K cost. We just got to get the data the warehouse privacy thing built. So essentially, at the moment, that's just stored on my server, which isn't great for long term. No, there's probably not. We're really comfortable where the conversation is with the brand in Perth, and we're not even thinking to have the conversation with the national company until we get this off the ground with the brand in Perth and then develop the schools network. Once again, so far the schools are all on board because they don't have to pay for it. So yeah, I don't think there is.
Yeah, awesome. Other than get some funding.
Yeah.
And make the magic happen. Hey, look, we might just park it there. Stuart, thanks very much for presenting this morning. Wish you all the best. Yeah, but we'll give you a round of applause. Thank you very much for that. Wish you all the best with it. It's a real problem we have in our community, and any sort of reduction in young people dying on the roads, or anyone dying on the roads, to be honest, is going to be great for us as a community. So thank you for that. Our next founder, I'd like to introduce Adam Stevenson. Adam Stevenson hails from actually Murdoch Uni, one of our students, and has decided to get into what I call the laptop creation space, tech space. And I'd like to welcome him to the floor. So Adam, yeah, I'd love to hear a bit more about your story. You have 6 minutes.
All right, thank you. Hey everyone, so my name is Adam Stevenson, and I am let me just share the screen. There we go, is that working?
It's coming up now.
All right, fantastic.
Yeah, got it.
Awesome. Hello everyone, my name's Adam Stevenson, and I'm the founder of a brand called Freevolution. And I'm going to present to you the FV1 laptop. That's just its working name. We haven't actually made the laptop yet, but this is still more of an idea rather than an actual business just yet. So we're very, very much in the very sort of foundational stage. I'm also a little bit ill today as well, so I do apologize for that. And my Wi-Fi is not too great, so if that doesn't go too well, then I might have to turn my camera off. So I do apologize for that in advance.
Good, Stuart. Oh, good, Adam.
So yeah, laptops are in demand, and people need laptops, and there's a few problems with the laptops that we have at the moment. I'll get into exactly what they are. I'm also going to get into what the solutions are for dealing with those problems. I also want to talk a bit today about the past, present, and future of this firm that I'm running. So yeah, regarding the problems, there's 3 major problems when it comes to laptops. So problem number 1 is that laptops, pretty much all laptops have non-replaceable parts, and you're not able to upgrade them. And the problem with this is that it generates a lot of waste, because as soon as one part of the laptop no longer meets the user's need, for example, maybe the CPU is a bit too slow or the hard drive is full, then the user generally just throws out the entire laptop instead of being able to just replace that one little bit that was causing the issue. So that's one problem that customers are facing that we think we can tackle. The other problem is lacking privacy. So there are a few other laptop brands that do tackle privacy, but they're not very big. They're very new. And we think there's still an enormous amount of room to fill regarding meeting that need for privacy in the market. So there's issues regarding Wi-Fi, triangulation, telemetry, location services, and other tracking software. And these things can be solved not just by hardware or software alone, but by a combination of both. That seems to be the answer. And unfortunately, no company seems to have tackled both at the same time yet. The third problem is that laptops are expensive, and they don't have to be expensive. There's currently only 2 other laptops on the market which have replaceable parts, both of which are very expensive. So one of them's Alienware's Area 51 laptop, and that'll set you back about 3,500 Australian dollars. And then there's the Framework laptop. So Framework is a startup firm from the USA, and they're doing a very similar thing to what we're doing, but their laptop will set you back $1,500 Australian dollars, approximately. So what are the solutions? So one of the solutions is the design of the laptops. We need to have a laptop where every part is replaceable. And yeah, currently there's only 2 laptops on the market that do that. But we need every part to be replaceable, and we need to make it so that the customer can easily replace these parts. That's something that we know we can do a better job of than our competitors. And also privacy switches as well. A few laptop brands have done this, but again, it's not big. Like there's no real combination of these different design elements into one laptop. No such thing seems to exist yet. The other solution is low cost. So very, very recently, the technology for computer hardware has improved quite a bit, to the point where we could be making laptops as cheap as, say, $250. But you know, companies do have business structures that do require a lot of advertising costs, for example. That's just one example. I won't get into the whole, I could do like a whole hour lecture on why our laptop could be a lower cost, but basically, to put it into simple terms, business structure can be leaner, and also making the laptops can be a bit more, can be a bit less money intensive, and we can find other ways of manufacturing laptops, especially if it's got replaceable parts. Like that does take some of the process out. So yeah, we want to make this cheaper for the customer as well. We want to make this product as cheap as possible. So what we've done so far is some preliminary market research. Pardon me. We surveyed about 56 people, and the results were pretty overwhelmingly good. Most people were either really happy with this idea of this laptop, or they were a bit unsure, but very, very few people thought it was a bad idea. So that was a good sign for us when we did this market research, and we're like, okay, you know, this is good. People are willing to pay about $746 on average for a laptop of this quality that we described to them. But we know we could probably make it cheaper than that even. So that's also a good sign too, that their standards for the price, you know, is a much higher price than what we know we can provide. Where we're at currently, so we're currently doing initial prototype design, claiming IP and ABN. That's all getting processed at the moment right now, actually. Getting branding done, and also building the executive team up and getting co-founders as well, because at the moment we're very, very small. And where we're headed, so we got to complete the initial prototype, test it, make more prototypes. We're going to do some marketing as well. We're going to try and find a very sort of lean and cost-effective way of achieving marketing. We need to do some hiring, contracting, and then get the sales done, get the dough. So we are going to face some future obstacles, obviously, and we should look at that now as well. So investment and funding, that's not an obstacle for us right now. I'm not actually looking for funding right now. I am just looking for support and help, really, and finding other people who want to join in. Protecting IP as well, because if you're going to make a laptop that has replaceable parts, then you need to make sure that you're protecting your intellectual property, you know, because anybody could manufacture a part and start selling it. So yeah, there is that issue as well. However, we think we could probably use that to our advantage. Pardon me. And also procuring chips as well. There's currently a microchip shortage right now, but we think we can still work with that. And if we can work with that now, then that does show that we've got something going for us. If we can overcome that obstacle. So yeah, thank you for listening. I didn't really cover everything in this presentation, so I hope that maybe some of the questions might cover that. Yeah, thank you for listening.
Oh, thank you very much for that, Adam. I might get you to stop sharing screen and we can open up the gallery.
Nice.
Yeah, well done, mate. Look, this is your first. I know this is your first pass at pitching. I know you're still in the conceptual stage, so thanks for clearing that for our audience as well. So a lot of our questions are probably going to be around that stage of your journey where you're at right now. So my first question would be, obviously you're going into, a hardware, multi-billion-dollar industry. I'd love to get, and you're a smart guy, I'd love to get your thoughts on where do you see this sitting in terms of, I guess, your unique selling point, other than, the initial market research you've got, which I think is really, a sweet spot or niche you're going to carve out. But I just want to get your thoughts on how do you perceive your, product, your business sitting alongside these giant hardware players in the market?
Well, I see it kind of the same way a lot of other startups are going. I see us as, I see there's a huge amount of potential here, but, the thing about tech startups is that some of them flop, even though they might have a really great idea. I did try and look up why some flop, why some do really well. Because quite frankly, I've got no idea how this is really going to go. Like, I've got to be honest, I actually genuinely don't know how it's going to go. But I'm going to try and give it 100% anyway, because quite frankly, one of the main reasons apparently why startups fail is because of timing. And I think right now is a great time to start making this sort of product. So hopefully I've got timing on my side. So I think we're probably going to do well if we, it's really a matter of us putting the effort in and, making the right choices.
And in terms of you asking around support, I think, we could probably look at something even within the university around, commercialization and, seeing there's anything there we can do, even around your prototyping, I mean.
Oh yeah, awesome.
But yeah, questions from, thanks, Mel. Yeah, you might as well ask that one.
Okay, sure. Yeah, you mentioned you were looking for team members. What sort of co-founders are you looking for? What sort of skills do you need?
Well, I guess I'm definitely looking for people who have experience in this field. That is something that, I'm not really going to find from students at uni. People who have experience working for a tech firm, or if there might be some, but it's very far and few between, sort of thing. I'm also looking for people who have just energy, a good energy, good attitude, like people who are willing to tackle stuff and learn, because the thing about IT is that it's pretty much always changing. Every year there's some like major massive change in the field, and we need people who can adapt. So I'm looking for people who are adaptable mainly. I'm looking for those sorts of skills rather than whether or not they know how to code, for example. It's those sorts of like adaptability and energy, courage, that sort of stuff. I'm looking for in a co-founder. Yeah.
We'll definitely be able to find them at Launchpad, that's for sure. So
awesome.
We'll keep our eyes and ears out for you, Adam, to ensure that you have success with the right partners or co-founders. Matthew, you've asked a question.
Sorry, a bit of a techie question. Because the issue you're talking about ultimately has been around since IBM PS2s, which are back in the days of 286s, for those of you who don't know, where the IBM came out with its unique architecture trying to protect its IP. And then what happened was all the clones instead took over. And that architecture, while on paper superior, failed because it was not as commercially viable. And you're seeing the same thing happen with Apple and Android to some extent, with Android sort of allowing itself out, but still holding base IP, but not as worried about other manufacturers. And that's what I say, it's just a balancing question, which of those two lines, creating, the motherboard that plugs into anything, in a case that allows more adaptability to be more commercially viable, because getting every part and trying to apply IP to might be really, a big haul. It was just a thought.
Oh yeah, no, that's actually a really good question. So I've thought about this as well. Like, I know that people are going to try and manufacture their own parts anyway. Like that's going to happen no matter what. So I'm thinking, well, how do we use this to our advantage? How is it that we integrate? Maybe we could use them, to manufacture parts for us. So the idea with the IP is that we sort of set this up, similar to how YouTube does their business model. How YouTube doesn't really create much of the content on their own platform. Like they get other people to do it for them, and they pay them a share of the ad revenue that they generate from that content. So I'm thinking of a similar sort of model here with that, with getting people to manufacture and sell these parts. I think maybe we might set like a standard for default parts for these laptops, and then other people can come in and they can make improved parts, but we sort of I guess set like a default, and then we have like a marketplace on a website, for example, where people can sell other parts that they manufacture, and that way we're embracing that. But the point of IP was that we get a cut of the income they make from them selling those bits.
Yep, exactly. It's the making the license cheap enough so it can prosper.
Yeah,
that was where I was heading. Yep.
No, that's a very smart way of doing it. And yeah, good
Thank
question, Matthew, and good answer too, Adam. While other people are thinking about questions, I've got a question, Adam, around your market research. So was there a sweet spot that came out of, I know it's only 56 as a sample size, which is still pretty good for your first pass. Was any sweet spot around the target audience? Was it like specifically students that really it resonated with, or was it who were the type of target market for this particular product that really gave positive feedback?
Well, I mean, it was really a huge mix of people. But yeah, I did interview mostly students, because my preconceived idea was that students will be more likely to use a laptop. But I mean, I will definitely look into other demographics and see what information I can get from that as well, because there might be something there that I haven't considered before, that hasn't been considered by another firm before, that I can tap into and go, oh, okay, so yeah, I'm definitely going to spread out and see who else would be interested. But yeah, in terms of the sweet spot, it's pretty all round.
Yeah, no, the reason I asked is obviously, it again comes back to that niche. Like, how do you fit with the giants in the market? Where you're going to play, where you're going to really own, where you're really going to win, is your audience. And, you're going to be unique because, you serve these customers really well. And, like I said, if you can plug into one of the big giants as well, to Matthew's point, either, the Android versus Apple, there's someone you can dovetail and go, I've got the support of a big player as well. You become an acquisition target very quickly, especially if you're turning over good revenue.
That's true. Yeah.
Jen, I might get you to ask your question, which is a good one too.
Yeah, I'm really interested in hearing a bit more about the prototyping. So yeah, my question was just, when are you hoping to have your prototype developed, and also like what you expect to be the biggest challenge in that development?
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for your question, Jen. I'm hoping to get the first prototype fully made by probably January or early February 2022. I've already done some work on it. I didn't put photos of it in the presentation because of IP reasons. But yeah, once I get that sorted, yeah, I'd love to show people as well where we're at and what we're doing. And I'm going to try and find some of the people that we interviewed for the market research and get them to test it. So that should hopefully happen before next semester starts.
That's awesome. You're going at a rate of knots.
Thank you.
Which is awesome. All right, we're kind of wrapping up now. A few minutes till the end. So, any other questions for Adam? Oh, Caitlin's asked a question. I might ask it for you then, Caitlin, as I know your speaker's not working. How user-friendly will the parts be to replace? Will people have to take it to a dealership like you do with a car, or they're willing, or will they be something that they can do one at home? And do you have a plan to recycle the parts that do get replaced? So it's kind of two questions in there, but so I guess, yeah, how will people replace it? Will they be able to take it to a dealership? Or do
no, that's a really good question. So I think I want people to be able to do it themselves. Okay. The idea is that we just put screws in that people can easily take out using an Allen key or like a screwdriver, for example, and making all the screws the same size so that, and having spares in there even, or whatever it takes, just to make it really easy. People know how to unscrew things with a screwdriver for the most part. It's something that a lot of people seem to be capable of. So I'm thinking of that. I'm also thinking possibly just being able to clip parts in and out, thinking of maybe a mechanism to do that. But then again, if one little part of that breaks, then that might ruin the part entirely. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe screws are better. So I'm going to look into that. I'm going to prototype a few different ideas with that.
You realise, I was just going to say, you realise that if you come up with some of those solutions, they themselves might be a fully viable design for IP, because putting in ribbons for screens and what have you can sometimes be challenging, and I think I generally am pretty technically competent. So.
I love it. And you mentioned in chat too about the IKEA model. Yeah, do it yourself. I love that, because I think, which is why I'm really intrigued with your idea, your concept, Adam, is it could go down a few parts here. And I'd be really interested to see how you progress, and we'd love to support you in progressing this, because there's something in there around this. And I think what you're doing, there's always going to be success for people, entrepreneurs that take the complex and make it simple, like the old Steve Jobs said. And well, that's essentially what you're doing. You're putting the power back into the user. And I love that, because at the moment, your laptop breaks, you're just at wits. You're just like, what do I do with this? Who do I take it to? You're just like pulling your hair out, and it's something that you need every day to be able, well, I've got no hair. Yeah, I know, Matthew, you've got no hair to pull out anymore, but it is frustrating. Do you know what I mean? So you're putting the power back into the user, and that's what I love. Simple, if something breaks, I can replace it. That's really the complex making simple, and people always do that, always win. So yeah, look, if there's any other questions, we might wrap up, but if there's any other questions for Adam, I'll get everyone to take their mics off, and we'll do a round of applause for both Stuart and Adam for presenting today. No, all good, yeah.
Hey.
I'm Stuart.
Thank
you to you both. And wishing you all the best with your journey as well. Look, this is not the end, of course. Launchpad is here to support, so please connect with us offline with anything. I know there's a few things even with Adam around your university to see where we can support you from a commercialization point of view or prototyping point of view. There might be something in there in terms of support. We'll definitely look into that. But otherwise, yeah, thank you to the audience as well. Thank you for joining and dedicating an hour of your time to support both Stuart and Adam. It's been phenomenal. I've learned a lot as well this morning. So thank you to you all, and have a great rest of the week, and happy hump day.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. I really appreciate it. Have a good day.
No worries. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks.